Hey guys, CJ here, back again, doing some more gateways stuff. Alright, so the stuff we're going to do today is teach you the CLI, or the command line interface, for the P330 Stack, which is actually the stack as part of the unit itself, the Cajun unit, minus the 8300, as well as the MGP, the Media Gateway Processing, CLI. So I'll show you that. It all makes sense as we get into it. But kind of the things I'm going to show you is what you want to log into when you're doing CLI. Now, I showed you that in the bash commands, but I'm going to show you a bunch of other things and why it's important to log into a specific area when you're doing any of your command line interfaces. Now, before we get into it, take note of the description, or in the description of this video, you'll see a link to the command line interface. I didn't post them all, but I posted one of them to give you an idea of what the different command line interface units are, because there's a lot of cool things you can do with these gateways, not just process phone calls. Some of the things that you can do, obviously the phone call stuff of it is the local survivable processor, or the LSP. You can also do SLS, which is standard local survivability, which gives you basic telephony or basic phone service. For instance, like the G430, which is this guy right here, you can set that up to be an advanced router, so you can actually do PPoE connections off of it. You can use it as a router for your network, as a small network, of course, but it has Cajun Manager on it, or it has Device Manager on it, so you can do a lot of things like routing. You can do advanced routing, things like that. You can mirror these ports right here, so you can mirror these two ports to do any kind of troubleshooting, so you can sniff the network. It has some sniffer interfaces on it. You can do port redundancy as a failover option, so you can do primary and standby links for these two ports here. And you can use these gateways as a TFTP server. And as you know, in R6, there's all these different types of templates that you can load on your S8300s or 8700s, whatever, to be able to give you a utility server. So, I mean, there's just tons of stuff that you can do with these gateways, all right? So, but let's get into what you really wanted to come here and watch, and that was the command line interface to the systems. Now, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to open up each of the interfaces someday, and so you can see the different interfaces that you have for command line interface. Now, the one on the left, far left, is the actual P330 Stack itself. That's the Cajun part of it, or the Cajun networking part, where you can do your routing, things like that. All right, the middle one is the Media Gateway Processor itself. This is the media side of things, or the H248 connection. This is where you're going to be doing a lot of the stuff for your gateways, where you set up SLS, things like that. The far right one is the bash command, or in the Definity or CM in the communication manager portion of the gateway. And I showed you how to go through, high level of course, how to do some of the commands in the bash command. And you can see it drops my connection because I'm not doing anything, all right? But what we're going to do is I'm going to close these down. I'm going to disconnect from them. And here's what I recommend. Get into the stack, okay? The P330 stack itself, as you can see here. All right, so we're in the stack. All right, so let's move on. Let's get in here. Let's log in. And as you can see, while I'm in the stack, I can get, like I said, I can get anywhere I want to in this entire gateway. I can get into the Media Gateway Controller, which is the CM, or your 8300. I can get into the MGP, which is the Media Gateway Processor. What else? And there's a ton of stuff I can do in here, okay? But we're going to go through some of the basics of getting into your command line interfaces and what some of them do. Now, take note that the web interface, this guy here, this web interface does a lot of these commands that I'm going to show you, okay? Just take note of that. But if you're familiar with command line, you like command line, you want to impress your boss, here you go. You can do a lot of that right here, okay? You don't have to just point and click on web pages. You actually can figure out and memorize what some of these commands are. But let's get to it. All right, so we're going to do show system. and you're going to see I'm in the stack. Now, the system in here is different from what it would be in the MGP, and I'll show you that. But what this does is it tells you the system name. It's a P330 stack. The system location. I named these, by the way. I was able to name these by doing set system name, and then I typed the name, which was P330 Stack. All right, but that's how you'd set system names, how you'd set system location, how you'd set the system contact. You do it using the set command, and I'll show you that in the MGP. But it's basically the same here. All right, so so that's the system, and what I'm going to do is, like I said, if you config, you now go into the configure option of the P330 stack, the device manager, and allows you to do a lot of the commands that you want to do for your routing. Okay, but we're going to show a lot of this in the MGP. Now, if I get a failure, I'm going to back out to the stack. So if it doesn't work in the stack, it's probably going to work in the MGP, and vice versa, because there's a command that's probably used only in the one portion of the system. Are you following me? Does that make sense? I hope so. Because this stuff can get kind of advanced, but you just have to remember some of the stuff that you have. And worst case, use this beautiful thing called a question mark. It's going to show you every command that's available to you. All right. So the nice thing about the stack as well as the MGP, you can if you do like this and you hit tab, your tab key, it'll auto fill what you're trying to do. Okay? Do this, it's going to tell me what I can do. All right? But if you tab when you're typing a command, it's going to auto populate it for you if it's an actual command. All right? While I'm in here, I'm going to type dir, and what this is going to do, it's going to show me my file versions or my version numbers of everything that's in my stack. All right, which is very handy, and I'm going to show you this in the upgrade portion of how to upgrade a G700, or basically how to upgrade your gateways. All right, that's the real reason why I'm getting you guys familiar with how to navigate within the command line interface. Okay, so. But just those are some examples, all right? But I'm going to show you why it's very cool to be in the stack first, because I can get into the MGP. Boom. Now I'm in the media gateway processor. I'm going to type session MGC. Wow. Now I'm in my CM. Boom. Okay, see? So from the stack, I can get everywhere in my systems that I showed you in those 3 windows from one window. So that's kind of cool. Yes, I restarted my system. That's why the license status is barking at me. Okay, stat app, boom. So you can see all your application statuses. All right. So, but I showed you guys that in the Bash tutorial or the last video I did. All right. So let's get back to the stack. All right. So there's my stack, and what I want to do now is I want to stay in the MGP. So the way you get there, as you just saw, you type session MGP. That stands for Media Gateway Processor. I hit that, boom, I'm in the Media Gateway Processor, and it automatically logs me in. That's the beauty of being in the stack. It automatically logs you in, so you can't beat that. All right, so let's go through the commands. Excuse me. All right, so we're going to do show system. Now, you see the system is different than what I showed you in the stack. This gives you more information that's going on the MGP. The MGP is what's controlling all your VoIP, your media modules, etc., okay? That's what's going on here. And as you can see, it also has a system name, system location, system contact. So the way you'd want to do that is you type set system name PBX how-tos dash G700. Now, in the newer versions of the gateways, like the G430s, you don't have to have a dash. You could have G700. You could do this, but for some reason this doesn't like it. Okay, it does not like that because in this older version. So what you have to do is you have to have it as a one-word parameter to enter it, and of course it's making me a liar. I just did this like 10 minutes. Oh, that's why. See. Always make sure you're in configure. All right, as you can see, I'm in super user. You can't do much in there, except list things or look at things. If you want to change things, you got to go config, tab, hit enter. Now you're in configure. Now you can set things, and you can see I was able to set my name. Set system location Neverland. Okay, set system contact. I don't know why I put a capital, but whatever. Show system. All right, this is very handy because if I wanted to, I could do set system contact. We're going to do info at pbxhowtos.com. By the way, that's not a real email address. I'm just putting that there for you to see. All right, so show system. So someone's in the system, they can see where I can contact people. All right, so that's kind of neat. All right, next thing, show MM. What this is going to do is going to show you every media module that is in your system. And it's just going to page through them, as you can see. So the question is, well, how can I just see the one? I want to be able to just see the one media module that I want to look at. So I'll say media module V4. Boom, there you go. You can see the media module V4, the one you're looking for. All right, so that's kind of neat. Let's see, some networking stuff. Show VLAN. Oh, that's right, because this is in the P330 stack. Remember what I was telling you? If the command's not found, try it in the stack. Exit. Exit. There's the stack. Show VLAN. Boom, there's your VLAN. Okay? Show SNMP. There's your SNMP strings. Show QoS. Okay, it's not there. So session MGP. Show QoS. There's your QoS information. All right, so again, guys, it's knowing where to go if you get stuck. If a command doesn't work, try it at a different portion of your system, whether it's the MGP, the Media Gateway Processor, or the P330 stack itself. Okay, so just remember that. Show. We're gonna do some more VoIP. VoIP parameters. We'll do V0 first. And what this is going to do, it's going to show me all my information that I have, if there's any fault messages. And you can see I already have an alarm in there, and I purposely put that alarm in there because I'm going to show you the faults. But there is a fault against that. All right, so we're going to do show VoIP parameters V3. This gives you, oh yeah, because I don't have anything in there. All right, because I can't talk to it. But regardless, if you do up arrow, by the way, forgot to tell you about this one, it's going to show you your last commands that you did. All right? And if you do down arrow, it'll show you the last ones going back down. So there you go. All right? Another one, show sync timing. You can see where my sync source is for my gateway or for my MGP. All right? This tells you where you're syncing off of and if there's any failures. So if there's clock errors on your T1s or whatever, or if you're telling the system to sync off of your carrier's clock and there's issues, this is where you'll see these issues. All right, show media server. This shows you what your media server is, basically what your S8300 and what your SAT port is. So this is very handy if you need to know what SAT port it is. So if you want to use it in ASA, that's the SAT port you're going to use, as you can see right here. Connections 5023. All right, that's how I found out what my port number was right there. So that comes in very, very handy. Get back to that. All right, let's see. Oh, here's a cool one. Show MG, which is your media gateway, list config. How about config? List config. This shows you your list configuration of everything you have in your G700. All right, from the 8300's perspective. So you can see I have the G700, which is slot V0, and the vintage, the VoIP firmware, the 8300, MM710, two of those, and MM711, one of those, and you can see everything that's on that. So that's very handy. All right, so here's another one, MGC list. This shows your media gateway controller list. So if you had more controllers or for LSPs, this is where you'd configure those, all right, because your system has to know about them. All right, show faults. This shows you the faults. Now, what's cool about this, from this screen right here, you can see that you have a fault in the system. There's an IP address configuration problem, and the alarm ALM LED is on. Okay, so on the front of my box, there is front of the G700, there's a red light on right now, and this is what's telling me there. So if you ever want to know what's going on if you get into the PBX and it says there's a platform alarm, well, that doesn't tell you much. You have to actually get into the platform to figure out what that alarm is. Okay, so in other words, if I get into my PBX, come on. Of course, it's not. All right, we'll cancel that for now because I'm going to show you how to actually get into that. All right, so that didn't work. But remember that fault, and I'm going to show you. So, but the way to get into your SAT, just type SAT. Wait a second. It's going to prompt for what you want to get in. As you can see, I'm going to get into the CM. I'm going to type 4410, which is very important. And boom, I'm in my SAT. Display alarms. And it's kind of messed up right now, and that's my fault. So, but regardless, you'll have an alarm in there, and you just log off of the SAT, and it'll take you back to your media gateway processor. So you can get in from the stack to your MGP, your the stack itself, the S8300 at the bash command, and you can get into the SAT. So you can get into 4 things from just the stack. Okay, so remember that. All right, some other things I'm going to show you before we go and look at the alarm. Show temp. You can see my temperature settings. I want to see my voltages. You can see all the voltages of your system. And I can see any of my restart of the system itself. All right, so there you go. That is a high-level overview of the CLI, the command line interface, for the non-bash commands portion of the system. So your P330 Stack, your MGP, the MGC, things like that. All right, so there you go. I hope this was informative for you guys. Like I said, it is a very high level of the command line interface. If you have any questions on any of the command line interfaces, please let me know. And the next video I'm going to show you is how to upgrade your gateway, and that includes the Cajun part of it, or the web interface, the gateway itself, and some other items in there. Maybe we'll upgrade an MM, but we'll do it all from the command line interface. That's why I wanted to show you this, so it prepares you for knowing how to get around your system and what you need to do. Okay, but we're going to do it. We're going to upgrade the system completely from the command line interface. Okay, so that's really cool. And like I said, you can impress your coworkers. All right, so there you guys go. Thanks for watching. I know this was a lengthy one, but I hope an informative one. Remember to skip through some of them, and maybe one day I'll figure out how to do bookmarks on my YouTube channels, and you can just click on them, okay? Once I figure that out, I'll put that in there, and you can go back to your leisure. But there you guys go. I appreciate it. I will talk to you all later. See you in the next video. I'm out because I'm tired. Bye-bye.